The sun rose over the endless desert of Vera 9, casting long shadows across the pale dunes. The wind whispered across the sand, shaping it into gentle waves that stretched to the horizon. Nira adjusted her wide-brimmed helmet and scanned the barren landscape. To anyone else, it might have looked like an empty world, but she knew that secrets often hide where nothing stirs. Nira's team moved carefully, their boots sinking slightly into the fine, dry sand with each step. They were part of a human expedition sent to explore the outer edges of the galaxy. Vera 9 had been marked as unremarkable for decades, but recent satellite scans showed unusual heat signatures below the surface. Something lay buried under the sands, and Nira's curiosity would not let her rest. Beside her, Talo, the team's engineer, adjusted the ground-penetrating scanner. "These readings are strange," he said, his voice steady despite the excitement in his eyes. "Whatever is down there is huge. Bigger than any human or alien structure we've ever found." Nira nodded. "And it's old. Very old. The energy patterns are faint, almost like echoes." They had been walking for hours, following the scanner's increasing readings. The desert around them was silent, except for the occasional creak of their equipment and the soft hiss of wind across the dunes. Then, suddenly, the ground beneath their feet began to change. The sand became coarser, dotted with black stones that gleamed under the sunlight. Nira crouched and brushed away the sand with her gloved hand. A smooth surface appeared, dark and polished. Symbols were etched into it, faint but unmistakable. She traced her finger across the carvings. They were not like any human writing she had ever seen. The lines curved and spiraled, forming shapes that seemed to shift as she looked. Talo bent over beside her, eyes wide. "This isn't just a tomb," he said softly. "This is a monument. Someone wanted this to last forever." Nira nodded again, feeling a thrill run through her chest. Humans had discovered alien relics before, but finding one untouched and intact was rare. This place was ancient, older than any known civilization. Whoever built it had vanished long ago, leaving only the tomb and its silent warnings behind. "Let's mark the area," Nira said, pulling out a small beacon. She planted it in the sand. The device blinked blue, sending their location to the orbiting ship above. "We need to get a proper team down here. Excavation will take time, and this is too important to rush." As the sun climbed higher, they continued to clear the sand from the black stones. Slowly, a massive structure revealed itself. It was a pyramid, but unlike any pyramid humans had seen on Earth or elsewhere. Its angles were sharp and perfect, and its surface reflected the sunlight in strange, almost metallic colors. The entire structure seemed to hum faintly, like it had energy running through it. Nira took a deep breath. "We need to be careful. We don't know what this thing can do. It might be more than just a tomb." The team began setting up equipment. Cameras, scanners, and drones were deployed to map the surface. As the devices hovered above the pyramid, data poured in. The readings were confusing and incredible. The structure emitted small pulses of energy, but they did not match any known patterns. It was alive in some way, or at least it had been designed to respond to movement and light. Hours passed, and the team uncovered a narrow entrance at the base of the pyramid. A triangular doorway, barely taller than a human, opened into darkness. Nira knelt beside it and examined the carvings around the frame. The symbols glowed faintly as if recognizing their presence. She felt a shiver run down her spine. "This is it," she whispered. "The tomb." Talo checked his equipment. "Everything is stable. No radiation, no harmful gases. It's safe to enter, but we should proceed slowly." Nira nodded. She adjusted her helmet lights and stepped inside. The air was cool and dry, carrying the faint scent of metal and dust. The walls were covered with more carvings, telling stories in patterns she could not yet read. They moved carefully, their footsteps echoing softly in the quiet chamber. As they went deeper, the walls began to change. The symbols shifted slightly, moving like shadows. Nira stopped and focused on them, trying to understand. "Do you see that?" she asked. Talo nodded. "It's almost like the tomb is aware of us." The corridor opened into a large chamber. At its center was a raised platform with a stone slab on top. The carvings here were more intricate, forming spirals and circles that pulsed faintly with light. Nira approached the slab and placed her hand on it. The moment she touched the stone, a soft voice filled the chamber. It was not loud, but it was clear. It spoke a language she had never heard, yet she understood it perfectly. "Who enters the tomb of the forgotten?" Nira stepped back, her heart racing. "We are humans," she said, her voice steady despite the fear creeping in. "We mean no harm. We only seek knowledge." The voice paused, then continued. "Knowledge comes with responsibility. The ones who built this place are gone. The danger they feared may rise again. You must choose carefully." Talo whispered, "Nira, this is incredible. It knows us." Nira nodded, her eyes fixed on the glowing symbols. She felt a mix of fear and excitement. Humans had always been explorers, never satisfied with limits. Now, standing in an alien tomb untouched for thousands of years, she felt the weight of history and the promise of discovery. The chamber was silent again, the voice gone. But the symbols continued to glow softly, as if watching them. Nero looked at her team and said, "This is only the beginning. We are the first to walk where no one has stepped for millennia. Whatever is waiting in this tomb, we will face it together." Outside, the desert wind continued to whisper, carrying the secrets of the tomb across the endless dunes. Humanity had found a relic of the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. The air inside the tomb felt heavier than before. Nira and her team stood in the central chamber, staring at the glowing symbols on the walls. The soft light painted their faces in pale gold, and shadows stretched across the high ceiling. The voice from the stone slab had vanished, but its words lingered in Nira's mind. Whoever had built this place had left warnings, and the humans were the first to hear them in thousands of years. Talo stepped closer to the slab, his scanner humming quietly. "The energy readings have changed," he said. "It's like the tomb is reacting to us. Look at the walls. The symbols are shifting." Nira walked slowly around the chamber, her eyes fixed on the moving patterns. The spirals and curves seemed almost alive. She reached out again, careful not to touch the slab this time. A pulse of light ran across the floor, like ripples in water, stopping at her feet. She stepped back, startled. "I think it's testing us," she said. "It wants to see who we are, why we are here." From the shadows, Maiko, the youngest member of the team, spoke in a quiet voice. "I feel like it's trying to speak again. I can almost hear it, calling to us." Nira nodded. "Then we listen. But carefully. Remember, we don't know what this place can do." The chamber remained silent for a moment. Then, slowly, the stone slab began to glow brighter. The light spread outward, tracing the carvings on the walls. The patterns formed shapes Nira had never seen, yet somehow, she understood their meaning. They told a story of a civilization that had risen among the stars, creating wonders of technology and knowledge. But the story also spoke of fear, of a threat that had consumed their worlds and left only ruins behind. Suddenly, a faint hum filled the chamber. It grew louder, vibrating in their chests and legs. The walls of the tomb seemed to shimmer, like heat waves above a desert. Nira grabbed Talo's arm. "Something is happening," she shouted over the sound. The hum became a deep, resonant tone. The air seemed to move, brushing past them like a gentle wind, though no doors or windows existed. The symbols on the walls rotated and shifted faster, forming a bright circle around the slab. Light rose from the circle, forming a pillar that reached toward the ceiling. Maiko stepped forward, eyes wide. It's alive. The tomb, it's alive. Nira placed a hand on his shoulder. No, it's not alive. Not in the way we think. It's responding to us. We have to stay calm. Then the voice returned, softer this time, echoing from all around the chamber. You are the first to awaken the tomb. You carry the spark of life that survived where others fell. The knowledge within is yours, but it must be used wisely. Talo frowned. It's speaking to us again. But I can understand it, every word. Yes, Nira said. It knows humans can think in ways others cannot. Maybe that is why it called us. The voice continued. The danger approaches once more. What destroyed my people moves through the stars, seeking all life. You must choose. Protect yourselves and remain hidden, or rise and face what comes with courage and wisdom. The team exchanged nervous glances. None of them had imagined hearing a warning like this. An ancient civilization speaking directly to them, offering guidance, and telling them that a threat they had never seen was coming. Nira stepped closer to the slab, feeling the energy vibrating through the floor. We have to understand it, she said. We need to know what the threat is and how to stop it. If this tomb survived all these years, maybe it has the answers. Talo nodded, scanning the walls for patterns. It's giving instructions, he said. Look at these symbols. They are diagrams, maps, even star charts. We can use them to study energy fields and propulsion systems we never imagined. Maiko ran his fingers lightly over the glowing carvings. It's like it wants us to learn. To grow stronger. Nira took a deep breath. That's exactly it. Humans have always been explorers. We take risks, we learn, we adapt. That is why the tomb chose us. Not just to survive, but to prepare. The hum in the chamber shifted again. This time it felt less threatening and more like a heartbeat. A soft blue light emerged from the slab, forming shapes in the air. Holographic figures appeared, showing scenes of alien ships, planets, and cities. Some structures were ruined, others untouched. The humans watched in awe, understanding that they were seeing the history of a vanished civilization. Look at that, Talo whispered. They built wonders, and then they were gone. But they left this, maybe to guide someone who could make a difference. Nira felt a mix of fear and hope. Fear because the threat still existed somewhere in the galaxy, and hope because humans had been given a chance to meet it with knowledge and courage. The light from the slab shifted again, this time forming a shape resembling a weapon, or perhaps a tool. Its design was unlike anything humans had ever seen. This must be what they used to defend themselves, Nira said. Or maybe it was a key to survival. Either way, we need to study it carefully. Maiko looked up, eyes shining. Do you think we can use it? We will try, Nira said firmly. But we must be careful. This is not just about power. It's about responsibility. If we misuse what we find here, we could bring danger to ourselves and others. The voice from the tomb spoke one last time before fading completely. Remember, knowledge is only valuable when paired with wisdom. Choose wisely, and the spark of life will guide you. The chamber fell silent. The hum was gone, and the glowing symbols dimmed, though they still pulsed faintly. The humans stood together, staring at the slab, feeling the weight of history and the burden of responsibility. Nira finally spoke. We have work to do. This tomb is not just a discovery. It's a mission. We are the first to walk where no one else has, and what we learn here could change the galaxy. Talo nodded. Then let's get started. Carefully, but we need to understand everything before we leave. Maiko smiled, excitement overcoming fear. I never thought exploring could feel like this. Alive and important. Nero looked around at her team and smiled. We are alive. And this is just the beginning. The tomb has awakened, and so have we. The galaxy will not be the same after what we learn here. Outside, the desert wind continued to sweep across Vera 9. But inside the tomb, light and energy pulsed faintly, waiting for humans to unlock the knowledge of a civilization long gone. Humanity had taken the first step into a story that would reach far beyond the stars. The tomb was quiet now, but the air was thick with the feeling of purpose. Nira and her team had spent the rest of the day examining the glowing symbols, recording data, and scanning the strange holographic projections. Each new discovery filled them with awe and caution. Humans had never seen technology this advanced, and the thought of the vanished civilization weighed heavily on them. Talo leaned over a scanner, comparing energy readings from the slab with the patterns on the walls. I think these symbols are more than decoration, he said. They are instructions. We could learn how they harnessed energy, maybe even how they defended themselves. But there are gaps in the data, missing pieces. Some parts are damaged, or intentionally hidden. Nira traced her fingers over the carvings. It is a warning too. The way the symbols shift when we move, the way the tomb spoke to us, it is teaching us, but it also wants us to be careful. Something destroyed them, and they feared it might return. Maiko, sitting cross-legged on the floor, pointed to a section of the wall that glowed brighter than the rest. Look at this part. It shows a shape moving across stars, consuming everything in its path. The voice mentioned danger. Maybe this is it? Nira studied the image. It's like a shadow traveling across the galaxy. Whatever destroyed these people was not a normal enemy. It could destroy entire worlds. That is what we have to understand. If it comes back, we must be ready. Talo shook his head. How could we ever be ready for something like that? We are humans, not an entire advanced civilization. We don't have fleets or weapons capable of matching this. Nero looked at him firmly. We don't have their technology yet, but we have something else. Humans can think, adapt, and create in ways even the tomb might not have expected. That is why it awakened for us. We are the ones who can face it. The tomb seemed to respond to her words. The slab glowed again, and symbols began forming in a sequence that none of them had noticed before. Lines connected stars in a map, showing paths, positions, and systems. It was a warning and a guide at the same time. Nira realized that if they followed these instructions carefully, they could understand the threat's nature and maybe even prepare a defense. Maiko's eyes were wide with excitement. It's like it wants us to learn how to predict it, maybe even fight it. Look at these diagrams, they show energy flows and shields. They show how my people might have survived. Talo frowned, scanning the projections. It's complicated. Too complicated for just a few humans to fully understand right now. But I think we can start. Step by step. Nira nodded. We have to start now. Tomorrow, we return to the ship, analyze everything, and plan. We cannot waste time. This threat could be coming back. The tomb wants us to be ready before it arrives. The team settled in the chamber for the night. They could not sleep well. The tomb's energy seemed to pulse softly, as if it were alive and aware of every movement. Nira lay on her small mat, thinking about the vanished civilization. They had built wonders, survived challenges, and yet something had ended their existence. And now, humans had been given the chance to learn from their mistakes. The next morning, Nero led the team deeper into the pyramid. They found new chambers with walls covered in more symbols and diagrams. Some of the carvings illustrated creatures, not human, but alien. They seemed monstrous and dangerous, with sharp limbs and large eyes that glowed in the holographic projections. The team understood immediately they were images of the threat the ancient civilization had feared. Talo adjusted his scanner to measure the energy patterns coming from the walls. These diagrams are teaching us about defense. Shields, energy barriers, traps, and motion detection systems. But it is incomplete. We will need to fill in the blanks ourselves. Neera studied the projections carefully. We have intelligence, curiosity, and teamwork. That is what makes us humans. The tomb gave them a chance, and it is giving us a chance too. We just need to be brave enough to take it. Maiko pointed at one of the walls. There are symbols that look like instructions for a device. It shows energy moving in loops and forming structures. Maybe it is a weapon, or a tool. The tomb is showing us how it worked. Neera studied the diagrams closely. Yes, but it is more than that. The device is a key. Not just a weapon, but a way to survive. If we can figure out how to operate it, we could defend ourselves and others. The team spent hours copying data, scanning symbols, and discussing possible meanings. Each new discovery revealed more about the civilization's knowledge and the danger they had faced. The tomb seemed to guide them, shifting symbols and forming new sequences when they studied older ones. It was as if the ancient builders had known exactly who would find it. Finally, the voice spoke again, faint but clear. The shadow moves among the stars. It is patient, relentless, and will consume without mercy. You have the spark of life. Prepare yourselves. Learn, adapt, and face the darkness. Do not fear. Courage and wisdom are your allies. Neera felt a chill run down her spine. It is warning us, but it is also giving us hope. The tomb believes we can succeed where others failed. That is why we are here. Talo nodded. We are the first to know, and maybe the first to fight. That is a responsibility we cannot ignore. Maiko added quietly, and the tomb is helping us. It is giving us guidance and knowledge that no one else has. Neera smiled faintly. Exactly. Humans may not be the strongest, but we have always found ways to survive, to adapt, and to turn challenges into opportunities. That is why the tomb chose us. That is why we will face the threat with courage. As they prepared to leave the tomb for the day, Nero looked at the glowing symbols one last time. We will study everything. We will learn all we can. And when the time comes, we will be ready. This is not just about survival. It is about shaping the future. Humanity will rise, and the galaxy will know that we are capable of more than fear and weakness. We are capable of courage, intelligence, and hope. The team stepped out into the desert, the sun high above the endless dunes. The tomb remained silent, but its glow lingered faintly under the sand. Nero felt the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of discovery. Humanity had been given a chance to understand the galaxy in a way no one else had, and they would not waste it. In the sky, distant stars seemed to twinkle with new significance. Somewhere out there, the shadow moved silently, unaware that humans had begun to prepare. And deep in the tomb, the whispers of a vanished civilization waited, guiding them step by step toward the challenge that would decide the fate of worlds. The sun was low over Vera 9, casting long shadows across the desert. Neera and her team had returned to the tomb with new determination. Every hour they spent inside revealed more of the vanished civilization's knowledge. Energy flows, star maps, and strange devices hinted at technology humans had never imagined. Yet with every discovery, a quiet unease grew among them. The warnings about the shadow in the stars were not just stories. It was real, and it was approaching. Talo adjusted the portable scanner, which hummed faintly in his hands. I've been mapping the tomb's energy patterns. They fluctuate when the sun is low, like it responds to natural light outside. There may be a reason the builders placed it in this desert. Nero wiped sweat from her forehead. The desert hides it, but it also powers it. That may explain the strange energy readings. We have to understand the tomb fully before we leave. Knowledge is our only advantage. Maiko was already examining a new chamber they had found. The walls were etched with diagrams of strange devices. They appeared to be defensive in nature. Some projected shields, while others looked like machines that could harness energy to move or repel objects. "The tomb is showing us how to survive," he said. "These devices could protect us, maybe even entire planets." Nira nodded. "Yes, but we have to be careful. It is teaching us in steps. If we rush or misinterpret the instructions, it could be dangerous." As the team studied, the desert wind shifted. Nira sensed movement outside, subtle at first. Shadows stretched over the dunes. She paused, instinctively scanning the horizon. In the distance, a small vessel descended from the sky, kicking up dust. Its shape was unlike any human craft they had seen before. Talo squinted. "It is alien. And it is coming here." Nira's heart raced. "Stay calm. We do not know if they are hostile. Prepare the tomb for defense, but do not engage unless necessary." The vessel landed softly, and figures emerged. Their armor reflected the orange light of the desert sun. They carried devices that hummed faintly, scanning the ground as they advanced. Nira gestured for the team to stay hidden. The tomb's energy responded immediately. Symbols on the walls began glowing brighter, forming new patterns and pathways. Maiko whispered, "It is reacting again. The tomb knows they are here." Nira nodded. "Good. That gives us a chance. Observe and learn." The aliens approached cautiously, scanning the entrance of the tomb. They seemed interested in the structure, not the humans yet. Their movements were careful, precise, as if they had studied this kind of site before. Talo whispered, "They may be explorers, like us. Or they could be looking for the same knowledge. Either way, we cannot let them take it." Nira made a quick decision. "We will stay hidden for now. Let them think the tomb is empty. If they try to access it without understanding, the tomb may protect itself and us." The team watched as the aliens moved closer. The tomb's energy pulsed rhythmically, creating faint barriers at entrances and projecting holographic illusions that disguised the deeper chambers. Nira realized the tomb had built its own defenses long ago, anticipating intruders. Maiko's eyes widened. "It is protecting us. It knows what could happen." Nira placed a hand on his shoulder. "Yes, and we have to respect that. This tomb has survived for thousands of years because it is clever. We need to be just as clever now." The aliens paused at the entrance, scanning the area carefully. One of them activated a device, projecting beams of light across the sand. The tomb reacted instantly. A soft vibration ran through the ground, and the symbols on the walls glowed more intensely. The beams of light from the aliens bent and refracted, making it impossible for them to locate the true entrance. Talo whispered, "It is brilliant. The tomb is shielding itself. And us." Nira nodded. "We cannot engage. Not yet. Let us see what they do." The aliens circled the tomb, careful not to trigger any traps. Their scanners beeped occasionally, picking up faint energy signals. Nira realized that they were likely searching for the same knowledge that humans were trying to unlock. But they did not understand the tomb's full power. Hours passed. The aliens eventually left, apparently unable to penetrate the tomb's defenses. The team waited until they were gone before emerging from their hiding place. The desert was quiet again, but tension remained. Maiko exhaled. "That was close. Too close." Nira nodded. "We have to move faster. The tomb is powerful, but we cannot rely on it alone. We need to learn as much as we can, and prepare for whatever is coming. Others are looking for this knowledge too, and not all will be friendly." Talo looked at the symbols, still glowing softly. "The tomb has given us warnings, instructions, and protections. But it is incomplete. We need to study it carefully. Every detail matters." Nira agreed. Yes. And we will. Step by step, we will understand it all. The shadow is still out there. The aliens were just a reminder that we are not alone. Others will come, and we must be ready. As the sun set, the team worked late into the night. They mapped new symbols, recorded holographic data, and began experimenting with small devices left in the tomb. Each device demonstrated principles of energy, movement, and protection far beyond current human understanding. Maiko activated a small holographic projection. It displayed a shield surrounding a planetary surface, powered by concentric energy rings. If we can replicate this on a larger scale, we could defend entire worlds, he said. Talo adjusted the projection. But it will take time and knowledge. The tomb is giving us the pieces, but we have to assemble them. Nira smiled faintly. Humans have always solved impossible puzzles. This is no different. We will use what we learn to prepare, and we will not fail. The desert night grew colder, but inside the tomb, the team felt a strange warmth. Knowledge, hope, and determination filled the chamber. They had faced their first challenge from another species, and the tomb had protected them. But this was only the beginning. The real threat was still out there, moving silently through the stars, and the humans had only just begun to prepare. Nero looked at her team and spoke softly. Tomorrow, we continue. We learn more, and we test the tomb's guidance. We cannot wait for danger to find us. We must act first, or we may not have a chance. The tomb pulsed softly, as if acknowledging her words. The whispers of the past civilization seemed alive, guiding them, giving them hope. Humanity had taken its first steps into a battle they had not yet seen, but they were not alone. In the vast desert, shadows moved under the stars, signaling the beginning of a story that would reach across worlds, galaxies, and time. And inside the tomb, humans prepared, learning from the past to face the future. The desert wind carried the cold of early morning as Nira and her team prepared for another day inside the tomb. The encounter with the alien explorers had reminded them that time was limited. Knowledge alone would not protect them. They had to learn to use it. Talo carried a small energy device the tomb had revealed. Its shape was complex, with loops and channels that seemed to guide the flow of power. He examined it carefully. This is like nothing we have seen before, he said. It can store energy, but I think it also communicates with other devices. If we connect them, we may unlock something larger. Maiko nodded, eyes wide with excitement. The tomb shows us step by step. If we follow carefully, we may be able to activate the defense systems or even create a shield around the tomb itself. Nero looked at both of them. We cannot rush. The tomb's builders designed everything with precision. One mistake could damage the device, or worse. We study, we test, and we learn. Then we act. They began connecting the devices in a circle, following patterns on the walls. Light flowed through the loops, pulsing like the heartbeat of the tomb itself. The energy was soft at first, but it grew stronger, forming arcs that danced across the floor without touching it. Suddenly, the walls vibrated. Symbols glowed brighter, forming a sequence none of them had seen before. The tomb seemed to respond to their progress. Nira's heart pounded. It is awake. The tomb is guiding us. Pay attention to the patterns. Maiko adjusted the device, aligning the loops as the symbols instructed. A holographic projection appeared above the devices. It showed a planet surrounded by concentric energy rings, radiating power outward. The team realized this was not just a display, it was a blueprint. They were learning to create a protective shield capable of holding against immense forces. Talo frowned. This is incredible, but also dangerous. If we misuse this, we could release energy that might destroy the tomb or ourselves. Nira placed a hand on his shoulder. That is why we must follow every instruction carefully. The tomb is teaching us, but it expects understanding, not haste. As they continued, a new sound echoed in the chamber. It was soft at first, almost like a whisper carried on the wind. Then it became clearer. Words formed, not in any human language, but in a pattern they could sense through thought. "The shadow approaches," the voice said. "Knowledge is your weapon. Unity is your shield. Prepare, and you may survive." The team froze. Even though they had read these warnings before, hearing them directly was different. Nira felt a shiver run through her spine. It is communicating directly now. We are learning faster than I expected. The tomb trusts us, but the shadow is coming closer. We must accelerate our work. They spent hours testing the devices, adjusting loops, and connecting energy channels. Each experiment brought new understanding. They learned how to focus energy, how to form barriers, and how to extend shields across larger areas. The tomb provided guidance through light, sound, and thought, almost as if it were alive. By midday, they had completed the first successful trial. A soft blue barrier formed around the central chamber, glowing with protective energy. Objects inside the shield floated slightly, held in place by invisible forces. The team looked at each other in awe. Maiko whispered, "It works. The tomb's technology is incredible. This could protect entire cities." Talo nodded, still cautious. "Yes, but this is just the beginning. We need to scale this up, test it in different conditions, and understand its limits. The shadow is not a simple enemy. It will require everything we can learn." Nira smiled faintly. Humans have always faced challenges larger than themselves. This is no different. We will use this knowledge, adapt it, and prepare for what is coming. The tomb chose us because we can think, create, and survive. As they worked, a strange vibration ran through the ground. Nira sensed it immediately. Something is approaching. Not aliens this time. Something different. Something from the stars. Talo checked the sensors. The energy signature is massive. It is moving fast. Whatever it is coming directly toward Vera 9. The team looked at each other. Fear was present, but so was determination. They had learned much, but the real test had not yet begun. The tomb's shields could protect them for now, but they needed more preparation to face the shadow itself. Nira activated the holographic star map. Lines and symbols shifted, showing the path of a dark object moving through multiple systems. "It is large, intelligent, and relentless," she said. "We need to predict its movement and prepare defenses. The tomb can guide us, but we must act." Maiko adjusted the energy devices, creating a larger projection of the shield around the tomb. "If we can extend this to the surrounding area, we may buy time to evacuate or prepare other defenses." Talo added, "And if we combine multiple devices, we could form a network of protective fields across Vera 9. The tomb's instructions suggest that this is possible. It will take precision and teamwork." Nira nodded. "Then we do it. Humans survive because we cooperate. Each of us has a role. We will extend the shield, map the shadow's path, and prepare for the challenge ahead." As they worked through the night, the tomb pulsed with energy. Symbols shifted, new diagrams appeared, and whispers guided their hands. The team moved in harmony, each member understanding their part in the plan. By dawn, they had created a series of linked energy fields, protecting the tomb and the surrounding area. Exhausted but determined, Nero looked at her team. "We have learned much, but this is only the beginning. The shadow is out there, moving toward us. We now have knowledge and technology, but courage and unity will be our greatest strength." The tomb pulsed one final time that morning, almost as if acknowledging their work. The voice echoed faintly in thought, "The awakening is complete. You are ready to face the shadow. Knowledge is your weapon. Unity is your shield." Nira smiled. "Yes, We are ready. And we will face whatever comes. Humanity has survived impossible challenges before. This time, we will rise stronger than ever. Outside, the stars twinkled in the early light. Somewhere beyond them, the shadow moved, slow but unstoppable. But on Vera 9, humans had awakened the power of the tomb. They were no longer just explorers, they were guardians of knowledge, prepared to face a threat older than the stars themselves. The sky over Vera 9 had turned a deep violet, and stars twinkled faintly above the desert. Nira and her team stood at the edge of the tomb's protective field, watching the horizon. The linked energy shields they had created glowed softly, outlining the tomb and the surrounding area. Everything was ready. Talo adjusted the sensors, eyes wide as he studied the readings. The shadow is very close now. Its energy signature is massive. It is unlike anything we have seen before. It moves with intent, almost like it knows exactly where we are. Maiko clenched his fists. We have prepared as much as we can. The tomb has guided us. Now it is our turn to act. Nira nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. Stay focused. Remember what we learned. The shields, the devices, and our unity are our greatest strengths. We cannot afford mistakes. The desert air shifted as a dark shape appeared on the horizon. It moved silently, yet with a presence that seemed to pull at the very energy of the planet. The shadow was not a simple object or creature. It was enormous, stretching across the skyline, and it seemed to absorb light, leaving a trail of darkness in its wake. Talo's voice trembled slightly. It is here. The shadow has arrived. Nira took a deep breath. Activate the shields fully. Begin the energy alignment. We need the tomb's power at maximum capacity. The team moved quickly, placing devices in precise positions and connecting them to the main energy network. Light flowed through the channels, strengthening the shields. The ground vibrated faintly, as if the planet itself was responding to the approaching darkness. As the shadow drew closer, they noticed subtle movements within it. Shapes seemed to shift, almost as if it were alive. Waves of energy radiated from it, distorting the air and making the desert sand swirl in strange patterns. Maiko whispered, "It is intelligent. It knows how to test us. We must be careful." Nira nodded. "Yes. Watch for patterns. The tomb has given us guidance, but we must also observe and adapt. Stay alert." The first contact was subtle. A ripple of darkness brushed against the outer edge of their shields. The protective fields flared, sending arcs of blue energy into the air. The shadow recoiled slightly, as if surprised by the resistance. Talo adjusted the devices quickly, reinforcing weak points. The shields are holding. So far, so good. But the shadow was relentless. It moved closer, sending pulses of energy that made the shields vibrate violently. The air felt thick, charged with power. The team felt the pull of the shadow's force, yet they held their positions. Maiko shouted over the hum of energy, "We need to focus the energy into a single stream. Concentrate all shields toward the center. That is where the tomb's power is strongest." Nira nodded. "Do it. Channel everything into the central field. We cannot let the shadow breach it." They worked together, moving devices, adjusting loops, and linking energy channels. The shields pulsed brighter, forming a concentrated sphere around the tomb. The shadow pressed against it, trying to break through, but the combined human and tomb energy held firm. For a moment, it seemed like the shadow might retreat. Then it shifted, revealing smaller fragments that broke away from its main form. These fragments moved like scouts, testing weak points in the shields. Talo's eyes widened. They are probing. If even one gets through, it could compromise everything. Nira took a deep breath. Focus on each fragment as it approaches. Use the energy channels to deflect them. Work together. Unity is our shield. The team moved with precision. Each fragment of the shadow was met with an arc of energy, pushed back, and contained. Slowly, they began to learn the shadow's patterns. It moved in waves, testing, retreating, and advancing again. Maiko smiled faintly. We are learning faster than it is adapting. The tomb's guidance is helping us predict its movements. Nira nodded. Good. Keep reinforcing the central field. Every device, every loop, every pulse counts. We are stronger than it realizes. Hours passed as the battle continued. The shadow did not retreat, nor did it fully breach the shields. Instead, it tested, learning, adapting. Yet the humans had also adapted, using knowledge, observation, and teamwork to maintain their defense. At one point, a fragment managed to slip past the outer field, heading toward the tomb. Nira reacted instantly. She activated a new configuration in the central energy channel. A beam of concentrated light shot toward the fragment, dispersing it safely into harmless energy waves. Talo breathed heavily. That was close. Too close. Maiko shook his head, smiling with relief. But it worked. The tomb's devices are amazing. We are learning to use them, and we are surviving. Nero looked at the shadow, stretching across the desert. It will not stop. But neither will we. Every attack, every test, makes us stronger. The tomb chose humans because we can adapt, think, and survive. This is our chance to prove it. The sun began to rise, casting a faint glow over the horizon. The shadow reacted to the changing light, shifting its energy, but it did not retreat. The humans had learned something important. Light, energy, and understanding combined could hold even the most massive threat at bay. Talo adjusted the devices one last time. We can maintain the shields as long as we keep working together. The shadow is strong, but it is not invincible. Nira nodded. Then we hold. We protect the tomb, and we protect each other. We will not let fear control us. Knowledge, courage, and unity are our weapons, and today we will survive. The shadow lingered at the edge of the shields, sensing resistance, learning from every pulse. But the humans were ready. They had awakened the tomb, learned its guidance, and discovered the strength that came from unity and courage. In the desert, under the violet sky, a new chapter had begun. The shadow had arrived, massive and intelligent, but humanity had risen to meet it. The tomb had awakened, and with it, the humans had become something more than explorers. They were guardians of knowledge, protectors of life, and the first line of defense against a threat older than the stars themselves. And as they stood together, watching the shadow test their limits, they realized one truth. No matter how dark the future might seem, knowledge and unity could shine brighter than any shadow. The shadow hovered over Vera 9, stretching across the desert like a living storm. Nira and her team stood at the center of the tomb, surrounded by the glowing energy shields they had created. The devices pulsed with power, casting blue light on their determined faces. They had survived the shadow's first assault, but the final confrontation had come. Talo studied the sensors, sweat running down his face. It is larger than we expected. Its energy fluctuates, almost like it is learning from us. We need a plan to stop it completely. Maiko nodded, holding one of the devices carefully. We have the tomb's guidance, and we have our understanding. If we combine everything, we might be able to create a force strong enough to repel it permanently. Nero looked at the team, her expression calm but firm. Remember what the tomb taught us. Knowledge is our weapon. Unity is our shield. This is the moment we use everything we have learned. We act together, or we fail together. They began the final preparation. Devices were placed in a precise formation, channels of energy linking every loop and conduit. The shields expanded outward, forming a protective dome that covered not just the tomb but the surrounding desert. Holographic symbols from the walls guided their every movement, showing patterns of energy they could focus and amplify. The shadow moved closer, sending waves of darkness that pressed against the shields. The ground shook under its weight, and the air was charged with energy. But this time, the humans were ready. Nira raised her hand, signaling the start. Talo and Maiko activated the energy devices simultaneously. Light surged through the loops, arcs of blue electricity connecting the outer shields to the central dome. The tomb seemed to respond to their command, glowing brighter than ever before, as if it recognized their unity and determination. The shadow reacted instantly, sending multiple fragments at once. They crashed against the shields, creating pulses that rippled through the ground. Nira's heart pounded, but she remained focused. Each fragment was deflected, redirected, and absorbed into the energy network they had created. The tomb's devices acted as conduits, transforming the shadow's energy into a harmless, controlled flow. Maiko shouted over the hum of power, "We are holding it. Keep the focus on the center. Combine every device's energy into one stream." Talo adjusted the loops, directing the energy to form a concentrated beam at the heart of the shadow. The fragments that had tested them earlier were now drawn into the energy stream, unable to resist the combined force of the tomb and human determination. Nira took a deep breath, thinking of everything they had learned. The tomb is more than a tool. It is a teacher. It has given us the knowledge to survive, but we are the ones who act. We are the shield, the focus, the force. Together, we are unstoppable. The shadow twisted and shifted, trying to break through. Its energy lashed against the shields, yet each attack was met with precision and adaptation. Nira could feel the pull of the darkness, but she also felt the strength of unity and knowledge holding them steady. Hours passed as the struggle continued. Sweat dripped, muscles ached, and minds strained, but the team did not falter. They had learned to anticipate the shadow's movements, to read its energy patterns, and to act as one with the tomb. Then, a change occurred. The shadow paused, almost as if it sensed something beyond force. It hesitated, giving the team a moment of insight. Nira saw it clearly. The tomb had not only taught them to defend, they could also communicate with the shadow through the energy network. Knowledge was the key, not just power. She spoke quietly, guiding the energy through thought as the tomb had shown them. "We are not your enemies. We seek understanding. We protect life. Receive our knowledge, and you will not destroy us." The shadow wavered, responding to the message. The fragments slowed, the waves of darkness softened, and a strange harmony began to form between the shadow and the energy network. Nira felt it like a pulse, a rhythm that matched the tomb's heartbeat. Talo whispered, "It is listening. It is learning from us. We can reach it without destroying it." Maiko smiled, tears in her eyes. "We do not have to fight to win. Knowledge is stronger than fear. Unity is stronger than darkness." The tomb glowed brighter, feeding the energy beam into the shadow. But now, the beam was not attacking, it was sharing. Symbols from the walls flowed into the shadow, transmitting information, understanding, and the history of Vera 9's builders. The dark mass trembled and shifted, gradually dissolving into a gentle wave of light that spread across the desert. Nira felt the relief wash over her, but she remained focused. "Keep the energy steady. Guide it. We must ensure the shadow understands, not just stop it." Minutes later, the desert was calm. The shadow had vanished, leaving behind no trace of destruction. The shields glowed softly, holding the tomb in protective embrace. Nira, Talo, and Maiko looked at each other, exhausted but triumphant. Talo smiled, shaking his head. "We did it. We survived. We learned. And we didn't have to destroy it." Maiko laughed quietly. "The tomb chose humans for a reason. We are not only capable of surviving but also of teaching and understanding. That is the real power. Nero placed a hand on the tomb's central device. The tomb was a test, not a trap. It prepared us for what was coming. Knowledge, unity, courage, these are what allowed us to face the shadow. And now, we have the responsibility to protect what we have learned. As the sun rose higher over the desert, the tomb's energy dimmed to a steady glow. The humans had completed their task, but their journey was only beginning. They had awakened the tomb, faced the shadow, and learned that strength without understanding could never prevail. The team gathered outside, looking at the horizon. Life on Vera 9 would continue, and humans would carry the lessons of the tomb into the future. They had proven that even against the most ancient and powerful forces, intelligence, cooperation, and compassion could overcome any challenge. Nira took a deep breath, feeling the desert wind on her face. We have survived. We have learned. And we will continue. Humanity is not just a species, we are protectors, explorers, and teachers. Today, we proved that knowledge and unity are stronger than any shadow. The tomb stood silently behind them, glowing faintly under the morning light. Its whispers were no longer warnings, they were a promise. Knowledge would guide them, and together, humans could face any challenge, no matter how dark or powerful. And far beyond the stars, somewhere the shadow once roamed, there was a quiet understanding. It had been shown a new path, one where knowledge and harmony could exist even in the vast darkness of the universe. The desert was calm, the tomb secure, and the humans ready. They had faced the impossible, learned from the ancient builders, and discovered the greatest truth: survival was not just about strength, but about understanding, unity, and courage. Vera 9 was safe, the tomb's secrets preserved, and humanity's place among the stars secured. The whispers from the tomb had ended, but their lessons would echo forever, guiding those who dared to learn and act with wisdom and heart.